Okay, so what's your question?
So, for my time writing, I got a 5, but I had a very structured essay. I had a three-pronged thesis and 5-paragraph essay. So I was thinking that I would add a conclusion as well as an extra prong to my thesis. What would you think about that?
All right, well, let me tell you that to get a 5 with a 3-prong, 5-paragraph essay says that your writing is good, because it means to me that that structure didn't jump off the page as in, it's a 5-paragraph essay, that your writing compensated for that. So it means that you've got strength there. But the way to solve a 5-paragraph essay is not just to add a prong or extend a conclusion. The way to fix a 5-paragraph essay is to simply go back and examine your thesis to see, am I saying really what I need to say? Am I structuring it as in that 5-paragraph structure with a 3-pronged thesis? It leads into the solution is this, and this. So weave those instead of a solid list going in where it's a list of 3 things or a list of 4 things, so it feels like you're directing yourself into that structure. Weave them into maybe a sentence each. If you default into the 5-paragraph essay, you're going to have to force yourself out of that default, which means maybe stop at 2 things and do those 2 things really well. And then your paragraphs, every time you change an idea related to your thesis, you're going to add a new paragraph. So maybe you have one of your things is about imagery. That doesn't mean that you only have 1 paragraph about imagery, because if you're talking about imagery as the character is introduced in that one particular scene where he's in the field, then that's 1 paragraph. Then maybe you shift to talk about related imagery when he's spending the night in the woods. That's another paragraph.
Okay.
So instead of these giant paragraphs that match the individual pieces here, you're going to break it up by ideas within.
Add naturally almost.
Exactly. So it has a more natural feel to it.
Okay.
If that's your default structure, again, you're going to have to work yourself out of that default by saying, I'm going to avoid 3.
Yes.
I'm going with 2, I'm going with 4, I'm going to go in greater depth in those 2, whatever it is I'm going to do. But to get yourself out of the default. Does that help?
Yes, that
You
helps.
definitely need a conclusion if you didn't put one.
Yes.
But you're not going to rewrite your thesis.
Okay.
So what are you going to do?
So look at the paragraphs and see if they're designated just for the prongs of the thesis, and then if it is, then try and find sections of it that can split off and relate to that last paragraph, but not necessarily to the prong.
Yes. Okay, here's one thing I want you to do, is to let's not even call it a prong.
Okay.
Because when you call it a prong, that goes right back to that 5-paragraph essay.
Yes.
So let's just call it an element of the thesis, or a piece of the argument, because really what you're doing here is arguing. You're saying this is what that imagery leads to that. Somebody else could be on the other side saying, well, I didn't see that. You're trying to be persuasive.
Yes.
A high-scoring paper has to be persuasive. So you can always picture somebody on the other side saying, really? I'm not really sure about that.
Yes.
And so you've got to be even more persuasive in the face of doubt. So a conclusion is not going to be a neat wrap-up, tie it off kind of. It just lets your reader know that you're done. So just like in, say, a courtroom where an attorney is presenting a closing argument, that attorney is not going to go back to his opening statement and rehash what was in the opening statement. The attorney is going to take the best evidence that came out during the trial and use that as a compelling and persuasive closing argument.
Yes.
So just keep that in mind and use what you came up with through here. And you're flexible in changing your structure as you go. Let it be an organic process as you go. Does that help?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. There you go.
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right.